My name is Ryan Isaiah Harry, metric number 2023680764.
And my name is Muhammad Faris Fakir bin Muhammad Fauzan with student number 2023218146.
So our title for today is Gaming Performance Analysis using RTX 3050 with setting 1080p medium.
Yes.
So for our introduction, why we analyze FPS? FPS is frame per second, which determine how smooth a game feels. It also determine the game with different performance demand. With descriptive statistic, hopefully it will help summarize typical performance, variability, and distribution shape.
And the objective of our study is firstly to analyze the FPS performance of 24 different games tested on RTX 3050. Secondly, to summarize the average performance using mean, median, and mode. And to identify performance variation using range, variance, standard deviation. And lastly, to determine which statistic best represents overall GPU performance.
So with our data collection, the data we obtained are from YouTube benchmark video testing with 24 games using identical hardware and setting.
And the method is we check the FPS values were manually recorded from the on-screen performance overlay, and we screenshots. The screenshots were captured to verify consistency across all games.
So the hardware, the identical hardware that we use with the GPU RTX 3050, CPU Intel i5 12400F, the RAM 32GB.
The resolution is 1080p and settings medium, RT off, and lastly DLSS is also off.
So for our data overview, this is our table. And the example of game in the table is Ghost of Tsushima, Valorant, Fortnite, GTA 5, Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Cellblade, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and etc.
Next, dataset characteristics. Firstly, variable type. Our case study, the variable type is quantitative, which is continuous, and the sample size is 24 FPS values. And data type is secondary data, and nature of data, we use the mix, which is AAA plus esports games.
The tool we use for the data is Microsoft Excel and manually extract the data from the YouTube benchmark. So our data analysis and interpretation, first we will find the mean, which is mean is the sum of FPS equal the number of game, and then we will get 78.75 for mean.
Next, we must find the median, which is FPS. So first we must sort FPS values with ascending. So we got the median, we got two value of median, which is the 12th value and 30th value, 64 and 66. So we must plus and divide into 2. So we got 65.
So for our mode, the most appearing value is the frame per second 66, which appear 3 times. All other value appear less.
For range FPS, the formula is maximum value minus minimum value. So we got the 298 minus 43, which is 255.
So this is, so for the variance, we use the sample variance formula. So we, after computing, we got 2736.92.
And as we can see here, our standard deviation is 52.32.
And our coefficient of variation is 66.47%. So for our central tendency, mean FPS is 78.75, median FPS is 65, mode FPS is 66, median best represent typical performance because the mean is affected by an outlier 298 FPS, which is the game Valorant.
So this is our data analysis and interpretation. So first, dispersion, the range is 255 and the variance is 2736.92, and the standard deviation is 52.32, and high variation due to mix of AAA, which is lower FPS, and esport titles, which is higher FPS.
So for our distribution shape, we can see from our histogram, the histogram shows a right-skewed, which is positively skewed distribution, and most of the frame per second values falls between 40 and 80 FPS, representing typical AAA game performance. Esport title produce extremely high FPS value, which also creating long right tail.
The median is the best representation of the data because, first, it is not affected by extreme outliers. Secondly, it reflects the typical FPS performance across most games. And last but not least, it aligns with the cluster of AAA gaming results.
On the right also, we also have a bar chart for all the game that shows the value of its own frame per second. So in conclusion, our overall finding, RTX 3050 delivers a very stable mid-range performance, which with most game, it is running 40 to 80 FPS at 1080p medium. Esport titles also achieve a very high FPS, while demanding AA games remain lower.
Our distribution inside is FPS data shows a right-skewed distribution due to one extreme outlier, 298 FPS, which is Valorant, and this skewness increases the mean but does not affect the median.
For the best representation, median FPS has shown for reflect the best for typical performance because it is not influenced by outlier. But mean that shows 78.75 is higher only because of the extreme value frame per second that is caused by the game Valorant.
So the overall conclusion, which is our last word, descriptive statistics effectively summarize performance differences across game genres, and RTS 3050 is reliable for AAA games and also excellent for esports titles.
That is all from us.
Thank you.
you.